Hey guys, Braided Zero here. I wanted to do a little quick 4-part series. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about farming routes and such on New World, and by all means, I think that farming routes are going to be pretty important. It's definitely going to be something that's going to be a part of your life as you start to run around and try to gather more resources. By all means, it is going to be something that is important. But what I kind of hadn't really seen anybody getting into quite yet is exactly how you can make those routes even more efficient and probably cut down on even more time spent doing those things just by making a few concerted efforts towards a few items and a few upgrades. So we're going to make this as short as possible, but again, it'll be a 4-part series. This first part is going to be on mining, but we will also do it on harvesting, on logging, and as well as skinning. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Now, before we go into detail, I did want to show you mapgenie.io. Of course, this is one of the ones that I've been using, but I know there are many others. If you are looking to mine a specific resource, then by all means, this would be a good place to start, just purely because you can go ahead and say, if I need iron and silver, maybe you're making some jewelry and maybe you're wanting to make some iron tools, then you go ahead and just kind of select the two that you're looking for. And then by all means, you can go to a specific area and plan a farming route based on those. It should be noted that the smaller nodes can respawn within about 8 minutes or so, and I think the bigger ones spawn about every 11 minutes. So keep that in mind. Choose an area that has a lot that by the time you finish a rotation, you will be back to a point where the others are respawning. Of course, throw in time based on how short after the release you're watching this, based on how active the servers might be. If you're right at launch or after a big update, there might be a lot more people on board. So remember that as well. If you're looking at a couple different resource nodes, keep in mind you should take the biggest one possible. Don't go with the smaller one. Heck, I would even say do that if there are no people around, just to make sure you get the secure on the bigger one. With the routes out of the way, we'll touch up on one little factor as well, which is your territory standing. As you increase your territory standing, what you're going to see is every few levels, you'll have the opportunity to increase your gathering speed. This is definitely a good thing to be able to increase over time. I don't know how it will directly contribute to the game once you kind of hit the max territory of 300. But I think it's not necessarily going to be a bad investment to get a faster gathering speed. But seeing as we compare that to a trading tax or property tax, or heck, even being able to monopolize on getting even more standing gain experience, it might not be the best pick. But I think for people who are going to concentrate on trying to shave off as much time mining and getting the most bang for their buck, I think time spent gathering will be a good investment. Keep in mind, I recorded this as a way of showing mining, but this can be applied both for harvesting, logging, and other things as well. I'll probably keep the introductory mostly the same between each video, because the first 2 parts are basically standard regardless of which route you're going. Before we jump too far in the video, I would like to recap the 8 different areas that I think people need to talk more about when it comes to increasing the efficiency of your farming routes. I understand that finding the areas that have the most dense amount of resources is a great way to do it, but if you don't prepare before you head out, I think it's just not really going in as intelligent as it could be. So the 8 areas in order of what I would say the most easiest to get a increase in those would be your territory standing level ups, taking the gathering speed increase, your tools moving from one tier to another, trophies, using different foods that have different buffs for specific resource gathering, armor that you can get from drops that gives you the ability to gather resources quicker, perks which can be added onto those tools, charms which can be used in crafting, and lastly, there is a potion that you can use as well to increase your amount of resources gathered for a certain amount of time. But let's go ahead and jump into the start of where they break off, and let's talk about tools. I think that of the different ways you can increase the amount of resources or the time spent mining and making it more efficient, tools is probably going to be the first one you are going to encounter, and that is being able to buy different kinds of tools. Naturally, as a part of your starting mission, you will be making a flint knife. I recommend before you leave that area, go ahead and making the pickaxe, the axe, and the other various tools that you'll need in order to get resources before leaving that area. Of course, with the flint mining pickaxe, the base one, you have a gathering speed of 100%. Once you increase that to the iron, you have 225%, and then increasing to 300 and 50% with the steel. You might end up staying at the steel for a little bit longer, seeing as you can use iron to get 2 steel, but then you'll have to actually start mining a different resource for star metal, and that will give you 550 gathering speed. And finally, tier 5 will be 850% gathering speed. Now, keep in mind, along with this, you're going to have mods that come with it. So we'll list off the different mods that come with it, but it should be noted that as you are building or maybe even buying these tools, they will come with different perks. And these are the possible perks that you could have on there as well. The reinforced mining luck perk increases your luck for mining by a certain number of points based off of the gear score. I probably should come out with another video on luck to explain that a little bit more, but just a rough overview. You are allotted a certain number of luck points whenever you mine something. I believe 100,000 is the current table that most items are using. So in order to get a certain item, you might need 102,000. And by increasing your luck points, that is what's going to get you to the point where you can get those higher rarity items. This would make it 100,000 and 500. And then you need to raise it a few more times to be able to get the higher chances of being able to get those more rare items. You also have the Quarryman's Burden, and that reduces the overall weight of stone blocks, gems, and pickaxes by 10% when at a max gear score of 600. You also have the ability to increase the mining yield. At max, it'd be 19% more yield. Mining luck increases your chance of finding rare items. Prospector's Discipline gets you more experience each time you mine. Adored mining luck gives you a higher chance of finding more rare items. And Prospector's Burden decreases the weight of ores, ingots, and pickaxes as well. Remember, keep in mind that pickaxes are both for stone cutting and for mining, which is why you see 2 different bag upgrades. Now, at the next part, we go into the area that I think people probably will interact with second most, and that is trophies. The starting trophy is a miner mining gathering trophy, and this is made with lumber, steel ingots, maple stain, and earth motes. Of course, it will require furnishing level 75 in order to craft it. So you will have to do quite a bit in order to get here, but I don't think it's going to be as steep of an entry point as maybe some of the others. That's why I have it next. But once you have the miner mining one, you will use that to get the basic mining gathering trophy. The miner increases your mining luck by 500 points, the basic increases by 1,000, and the major mining increases by 1,500. You will need a furnishing skill of 200 in order to get the major mining trophy though. The next thing I think people will interact with most is probably going to be food. For food, keep in mind that the duration is not set like some of the other ones where it is just constantly active whenever you have that perk equipped. And for this, there is timers on it. So you start with roasted potatoes that increases your luck by 1,000 for 20 minutes. Then you have herb roasted potatoes, which is 1,400 increase for 25. Boiled potatoes, 1,700 increase for 30 minutes. Poultry with roasted potatoes, 1,900 luck increase for 35 minutes. And lastly, salted roasted potatoes increases by 2,000 points for a total of 40 minutes. It does take quite a bit in order to make those, so you will be finding exactly where to gather those resources. And if you're going to do any kind of mining in a serious profession, then you probably want to find oregano, parsley, butter, salt, nut, squash, and potatoes to make that salted roasted potatoes. Next, we jump into the gear. There are 3 sets of gear, and they are dropped from random assortment of enemies, and you can get them from chests as well based on the level of areas that you're in. For the first set, it looks like the zone level will need to be between 19 and 38, so the enemies will need to be in probably at least the 20s before you start seeing these drop. The miner pants are going to increase your chance of finding rare items by 3.8%. And that is also the same for the hat, the gloves, the shoes, and the shirt. For the second set, you're looking at increasing your mining chance of finding rare items by 4.4% on average. Again, these numbers will change as the gear score changes, but it looks like 4.4% was kind of the standard. These items will drop in the 39 to 58 range, and that goes along with as well the same for the gloves, the hat, the shirt, everything like that. Next, you get to the tier 5, which is the epic, and that makes it to where you could get one up in the gear score of 600. These items are dropped in 59 plus areas, and they will give you an increase of 5% chance of finding a rare item. Again, for each of those items that can drop, which means you have to build the full set. The second to last section is going to be charms. Don't really know a ton of the capacity of how these will be used, but once the game releases, we'll probably come out with an actual section on using the charms in more detail. The last section is going to be a proficiency booster. This lasts for 20 minutes and it increases your resources gathered for by 10%. Now again, you notice that we didn't go into much detail on exactly how to go about finding the best areas for gathering, and that's because I'm sure you can find plenty of areas and they will change upon release. People, I'm sure, will be finding them. I wanted to make a video that can kind of stand the test of time here and show you how you can increase your chance of getting better or more rare items from your mining, or how you can do it quicker or get more of the base item that you're looking to mine. Thanks for following me along that journey, guys. I hope y'all found this useful. Comment below if you'd like to add anything to the video, things that I lost, or recommendations for other people. Like and subscribe to the channel for more content, guys. Thanks.